What's up, everyone? Payload CMS allows you to use cloud storage to store your images and files. This allows you to go beyond local storage for your websites and query your images as you need them. Using cloud storage also makes it easy to use a CDN to keep your website performant across geographies. But just setting up your storage adapter isn't enough. There's one setting in your Next.js configuration that you need to adjust for this to work. If you'd like to follow along, there's a link to the repo in the description. Now, let's dive in. Now, over here, I've set up an example project using Payload's Create Payload app. It's a blank template with a MongoDB, and everything I go over in this video, though, will apply to existing projects or any Postgres database or SQLite database as well. I'm also using Cloudflare's R2 object storage with the S3 storage adapter plugin. No matter what storage adapter you use, though, the steps we follow here will apply to all storage adapters. In the payload config, I've added the S3 storage adapter to my plugins and configured it for my media collection, and I included my CDN URL with a file URL generator function to make sure that my images are uploaded in the future using the proper URL instead of an API endpoint. The rest of this configuration, though, is just the default configuration for the S3 storage adapter. So with the adapter configured, let's start off by generating our types, generating our import map, and then running our development server. And then I can go to localhost 3000 admin. And then I'm brought to the login page. I'm going to use my normal testing user, which I created at the creation of this project. And then I'm going to go to my media and create a new media file. And I'm going to paste a URL, which is just going to be from pixum.photos. And I'll just do a 400 by 400 image, add the file with some alt description text, and I can save this. Now I can go over to my page.tsx file, which you can see is just a blank page, essentially. Can get rid of anything that I don't need, but now we're going to import our image from Next Image. Then we'll initialize payload. So we've got the config, and then we've got our constant payload, which will await get payload, and pass in the config there, and then we can find one image. So I've got my constant of image, which I'm going to set to be equal to await payload.find, and we're going to find in our media collection just one image, and then we'll get the response, and from that response get our documents, and just get the first document. Then we're going to destructure our image, so we've got a constant, which will get the URL, the width, the height, and then finally the alt text. And then within our div, we're going to just include an image, not anything too complicated, and we'll pass in our URL, which will have a non-null assertion. Then we've got our alt text. We'll have a width and a height, and both width and height, since they are not required, need fallbacks. And I'll just set these to be 400. So now I can save this and come over to our homepage, and we'll see the error that I'm talking about and the error that we want to address. So what's going on here? Before I answer that question, check to make sure you're subscribed to my channel so you never miss when I release new content about Payload CMS, Next.js, and other modern web dev technology. Tired of trying to keep up with all the news and updates across the technologies and companies you use? Consider signing up for my newsletter to get a weekly overview of all the dev news from across the internet. The link to that is in the description. Thank you for your support. Now, let's get back to it. The problem isn't with Payload CMS, it's with Next.js. If you use local storage only, there's no way for bad actors to use external resources to compromise your site. This means that you can easily serve up images within your own project with no configuration. But many platforms don't persist local storage, so using local storage may not be an option. This is why Payload CMS offers cloud storage adapters. But these storage adapters are all external of the website you're building. That means Next.js is going to try to protect your application from these sources even though you trust them. So how do you fix it? Remote patterns. By setting your remote patterns in the Next.js config, you're telling Next.js that you're okay to receive images from an external path that you set. If you don't set this, Next.js will throw server errors to protect your application. So let's set this up. This is a fairly simple process. All we need to do is go over to our next.config.mjs file. And at the top of the file here, I'm going to use a constant called URLs, which is going to be an array of URLs. And I'm going to define my R2 dev URL here. And you can define many URLs, which is why I'm using an array here, instead of just configuring it directly in the remote patterns. So let's continue here. We'll add a new URL, and this URL is going to be my public dev URL from Cloudflare, which is this here. And then these two wildcards are here to say that we will accept any image, any file name, anything that comes from this public bucket here. So without these two wildcards, though, this will not work. So now we can come into our configuration, and we're going to pass in an images object, and we'll get our remote patterns and just pass in our URLs here. So now once my server restarts, we'll see that the error goes away and we're able to see our image now. And that's all there is to it. You now know why Payload provides cloud storage adapters and how to serve images from those cloud storage adapters. How will you use this knowledge in your projects? I hope you found this video helpful. If you want more helpful information like this, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. My newsletter is also a great resource to pick up more helpful tips and tricks like this one. There's a link to subscribe to my newsletter, as well as a way to support me on Patreon in the description. If you have questions or suggestions, I'd love to hear from you. Leave those in the comment section of this video. Until then, I'll see you in the next one. If you want to learn more about storage adapters, the video on the left is for you. Learn more about the Next.js Image component in the video on the right.